Welcome to the Daily TV Mass 40 Days of Lent online retreat. Day 24. Where is God in Suffering? Part 2, Easter Sunday, God's Response to Good Friday, with Father Richard Leonard.
Following my sister Tracey's accident that left her a quadriplegic, I was standing with my mother in that hospital room. There was no way of knowing how much all of our lives were about to change, most of all and most heartbreakingly for my sister. We did not need to blame God directly for causing our suffering in order to turn it around and harness it for good. The human search for meaning is a powerful instinct. Tracey's accident, however, was meaningless in itself. It was a random event, an intersection of the wrong time and the wrong place and the worst outcome. I say the worst outcome quite deliberately because on the day after the accident, when we arrived at the hospital, had the doctors said to us, "While you were flying up here, your daughter, your sister, died of her injuries, but we want you to know that had she been alive, she would have been a quadriplegic for the rest of her life." In such a scenario, we would have taken her death as some sort of tragic comfort. I've grown in unexpected ways through this family tragedy. Mostly out of sheer boredom, 2 years after her accident, Tracey decided to write up her stories of her life in Calcutta. Only a mother could have stored away in the loft every piece of airmail that Tracey wrote from India over the years. They became the basis upon which she dictated to a computer her book, The Full Catastrophe, regaling the reader with stories of her life in Calcutta and the Northern Territory. Its biggest impact has been on adventurous young people, would-be volunteers and other paraplegics and quadriplegics, giving them some hope. So in some measure, Tracey's accident turned around a meaningless situation, and she was generous with what she had left to offer: her story, humour, wisdom and experience. Through God's grace, the rest of us have learnt a lot too, about the big lessons regarding ourselves, one another, and the precariousness of life. But I've also learnt from this accident to be grateful when I bound upstairs 2 at a time, feed myself, stand in the shower unaided, or actually go to the toilet on my own. At these deeply ordinary human moments, I thank God because I've discovered that even the lavatory can be a house of prayer. One of the greatest learnings all my family has painfully acquired over this time is coping with the restrictions disabled people have to bear. I am the one who will confront you in the car park if I see you alight from an able-bodied car with no disability sticker when it's taking up the disability parking spot because it's the closest one to the shop. The greatest gift this searing experience has given me, however, is to have greater empathy for anyone who is devastated in grief or feels abandoned by life or God. I've touched that moment, and I have asked on more than one occasion, where the hell is God? That has irrevocably changed my ministry as a priest for the better. Given that, with God's power and love, good can come out of disasters. This in no way changes the nature of the terrible event in the first place. It does not become God's will because we've grown as a result of a shocking event. I think spiritual sanity rests in seeing that every moment of every day, God does what he did on Good Friday, not to allow evil, death, and destruction to have the last word, but to ennoble humanity with an extraordinary resilience and through the power of amazing grace to enable us to make the most of even the worst situations and let light and life have the last word. Easter Sunday is God's response to Good Friday. Life out of death. A question upon which to reflect. When tough things have happened in your life, what life lessons emerged from them?
Join us tomorrow for Day 25, Part 3, God Doesn't Send Disasters.